Hey guys, what's up? Welcome to podcast episode 4. Thanks for that. I'm here with Lorena. This is my client. How long have you been coming to me now? Since Miami.
My son was 6 months, so like 2.5 years.
Longer than that. Yeah, she's a loyal, she's a regular, love her to death. But yeah, let's really get into it. We're gonna start with a high noon. These are left over from last podcast. Might need you to pop mine. Oh, yeah, I have nails now.
I actually need a spoon.
Let's talk about your inspo really quick. So I circled the ones I kind of want to like mix together. How do you feel about those?
100%. The only thing I didn't want was the olives, so I'm good.
Okay, perfect.
If you want to change the airbrush to...
No, I'm gonna do this one. I'll be able to do easily because of the colors, so that'll be fine. Do you want to do your usual length or a little
longer? Because that size just
slay. Okay, period. This is the set. They can never see it when I show them, but it's fine. We're still gonna do it every single time. Let me see. You guys, Lorena is like the worst fucking cuticle eater ever. Like, the bitch loves to eat her cuticles for a snack. And I told her to be on this episode, she had to stop. And her nails are so healthy. Turn switch. So what's tea with this baby fever? You guys, Lorena is a mom of 3. And you're what, 23? 24?
25 on next month. But yeah, I don't know. Baby fever is just the weirdest thing because when I tell you that I am done, I am like, and I love the mom life, right? But I have enough on my plate. And occasionally, like, you really gotta like give everybody, you gotta pour into everybody, you know? So I have enough. But it's something like when your baby is like 6 to 9 months that you just start to get this urge, like you want to have another baby. You miss that newborn phase and you kind of forget all the crazy stuff you went through.
I was gonna say, like, is the newborn phase even fucking good?
Well,
you don't
I already
sleep.
got 3 kids. It is good because it's peaceful and it's really beautiful and everything goes really fast until you see them do all these new things, offset and things like that. So it's really like beautiful, right? And like really like, I don't know, peaceful, I would say. But it's true, there's a lot of lack of sleep. And like also for me, I have already 3 kids. So like my life is really crazy as it is. And so this is just like a nice little time, or like I like not little time, but I would say like it becomes very peaceful and beautiful because the newborn's there and everything is, you know, you're trying to keep it all calm and quiet for the babies.
Do you feel like when you have a baby, like, you worry that you're like neglecting your other kids?
I did with my second because I feel like I didn't full on became an expert until I had like my third, and it was like, because I feel like with the first you obviously become our first time mom, and then with the second, in my opinion, in my case, I had to learn how to like do that again, if that makes sense. Like you pour so much into the first baby, or at least I did, where it was like, oh, I have to do, like, I'm gonna love somebody else just the same again. It's like, you know, you have to learn. It was a learning curve.
Do you love any of your kids more than the other?
No.
You're fucking cap. This bitch would come back after having a baby. Her next appointment be like, I'm pregnant. I'm like, there's no fucking way. Back to back, 3 under 3, right?
Yeah, like he just
embarrassing.
I just started looking at the doctor like,
oh my god. Face covered. Don't look at me.
But yeah, it was too quick. I feel like honestly, if I would have gone back, I probably would have waited a little bit more, because the way they received my daughter versus my middle son was so much better. With my middle son, he just wasn't ready. He saw him more of like, why is he here? Like, why am I sharing everything with him? And it took a while, and then like now that they got bigger, he obviously understands more. And
it's so crazy how they're so small but they still have like such big emotions.
Before I had kids, I thought that like a 3-year-old would be a baby, but my 3-year-old is a grown kid,
right?
Like
literally a whole human. Yeah,
so they do go a lot faster than you understand. They could like think.
Also, does that make you sad?
Watching it grow up.
Yeah.
It's like beautiful because it's like you see all the work you do and the result of what you do. So it's great, but it's very sad. I feel like, motherhood is like you can never win. You're always sad about something.
Right. That's why I don't want to do it. Because I'm like, I am not looking forward to all those feelings.
It's beautiful. I think the beauty of it, it's like so much that it outshines everything else. But it definitely is sad moments at all times.
I love, yeah. I love though that you started like posting more about it, and you guys do so much together, which is like how do you even like balance that? Because for you guys that don't know, you guys have a business. They have a tinting business that they run together, and it's like all on you guys. So how do you balance like?
It's definitely insane.
Yeah.
Time.
But you do make time. You go to the park and you go to the beach and you go on trips and you do all this shit.
Well, I'm very privileged to have my husband who works very hard to provide so that I can do that. And that's what mainly helps me do all of these things with them, because he gives me the time, he gives me the funds and the freedom. Like, he doesn't control where I go or how much I spend on having fun with the kids, or as long as they're being nurtured and having their needs met, he's happy with that.
Yeah.
So that's my backbone. The business though, that drives us crazy. We don't have any personal time. Like, it's so minimal. It's crazy. Like, I feel like sometimes I tell people like, I'm really busy, I'm sorry I couldn't get to you, and like they're probably like, yeah, right. But no, right. Literally, like, by the time I clock out, it's like 1 a.m.
Yeah.
So definitely a lot. Definitely.
Did you guys experience like issues like after having the kids, like in your relationship? Like, did it make, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I feel like kids, like, I don't want to say ruins relationships, but I feel like it definitely like puts it to the test.
Yes. I don't think it ruins them. I think that it brings out who you truly are, because it's such a raw thing. Like, you don't have time to plan and prepare and do, like, you could plan and prepare for it, but nothing is going to prepare you for what is actually going to happen. When you're there in the moment, you have to react, and you'll bring out who you truly are. So I think that if you are not in that relationship with everything to give, it will show, and you will feel a lot of pressure, and there's bad days, lots of bad days. You are very stressed out.
Yeah.
Some days you're like, just trying to survive. So it's like, it counts for a lot that you have the mentality of, we're in this together. We're a team, and he got me like I got him. And as long as that mentality is on, we make the world like that.
Did that come right away, like with the first kid, or did it grow over time?
So for me, my first kid was like a surprise baby. So it put a lot of things in perspective for me right away. But it was for me. Then me and my man talk about it. Like, back then we were not like we are today. It was definitely being an insane journey.
Did you ever consider like not keeping it?
Yeah, bro, absolutely. I was terrified. At first, it wasn't like even an idea in my head. But funny enough, I never been like the type to have a bunch of kids. I was not raised into that. My family is not a family that has a lot of children around. So, but it was never my initial idea. But as soon as I started telling people that I was pregnant, funny enough, that's what most people recommend. Like, are you sure you want to keep?
Yeah.
I was also turning 21, so I feel like people saw me as like, she's young, like, what's she doing?
Yeah.
But I did consider it, and after researching how the procedures go, and I felt so much guilt. I couldn't. Like, that's what really, and that changed my perspective. It was like, okay, so we're really doing this, and we gotta get our shit together. So that's when I started my healing journey, and like, just becoming a better person.
You guys, Lorena is like the most self-aware, woke bitch I know. No, seriously. Like, I love when she comes and we have conversations, because we talk about so much, and like her viewpoint, everything is just like so fire. Seriously.
But it mostly came when that happened, when I found out I was pregnant. My son really encouraged me to be better. Like, it was like, you're not even at halfway your potential. And so a lot of like
where were you at in your life at that time?
Girl, at my lowest point. I was literally between the dumpster and like
the dumpster.
It was like horrible. I was doing the worst things that I could have done for myself, making the worst choices, just plain old being toxic.
Do you feel like that's how like God saved you?
Yes, absolutely. Funny enough, weeks leading up to finding out that I was pregnant, I was telling myself like, I am good as long as I don't get pregnant. I'm good. And funny enough, that was my mentality, right? But
That's literally always my mentality.
but I was communicating to other people because I don't know why I would do this, but I was just like I would tell my friends. Keep in mind, me and my men's relationships back then was kind of toxic, and I would tell him like, we should have a baby. Oh my goodness, imagine if we had a baby. Oh, if we had a baby.
You're delusional.
Literally, like, wow.
Oh my God, please don't be one of them.
Bro, in my head, it was the opposite. It was like, Lorena, this is so bad. We really should not, like, as long as we don't get pregnant, we're good. But I would tell the opposite thing. And I swear, I have always felt like that was like, yeah, bitch, for real? Go ahead.
Right, here it is.
1, 2,
Yeah. Oh
and like,
God.
by the second, it was already like, it wasn't planned, but we were ready for it. That first was what really changed everything for me.
Yeah.
I also feel like that's why I got so attached to my son. That's why I feel like I had a harder time with the second, getting used to more than one baby. Because it was like, I feel like my son did so much for me. I had to also like be self-aware on that point and be like, I can't let this interfere in life.
Yeah.
But he just made me want to be a good person, and I just did growth from there.
Yeah, you grew so much.
Crazy. Really crazy. 360. Like,
And you feel like your man grew a lot too, right?
yeah, well, so that's where I consider myself.
Like, actually.
That's what I consider myself really blessed, because that would not always be the case. Like, I was very lucky that he was like, yeah, like, let's do this, let's become better. And he actually followed through, because the growth doesn't happen in a day.
Yeah.
So when you invest in time, it's like, thank God he did that too. Because right now we're crazy, like, we're crazy different. But back, I wasn't sure if he was gonna follow through. Maybe he would like linger in there for months, but no, he did the work, we did the work, and that's why today I am like, bro, it's crazy. It's a 360 from where I used to be.
I love that for you. Do you ever miss like the old you?
Girl, she's like a different person. I push her in, like, please.
Really, like, don't come out? Oh my God.
Anyways, I do, especially not so much now, but I used to a lot. It's like, you're used to being a specific way, and pregnancy itself, without any of that mess, changes who you are, and you don't even recognize yourself.
Yeah.
So it's like, on top of that, I was truly changing who I am. So it's like,
I feel like I went through like that this year, and it's really hard, like, letting go of like who you were and realizing like and then it's like, okay, so who am I, kind of a thing, and then you have to like figure it out from there. It's really scary.
Yeah, I feel like changing is very scary because it's unknown. You don't know what's gonna happen or who you're gonna become. Yeah. Also, admitting that who you were wasn't your best self sometimes is kind of like a sore spot.
Yeah.
Like,
but I feel like you change so much throughout life, and you just, I don't know, have to be open to it all the time. Yeah.
I feel like that's the whole point of life. If you're not growing, what are you doing? And yeah, not only money-wise or status, but you by yourself.
Yeah.
You're at home, like, do you know you're becoming better of a person? Because if you're not, then, if you just find yourself justifying everything you do and finding everything you do correct, you're not. You're most likely not.
What do you feel like you do to grow?
I do a lot of, I look at myself a lot and the things that I'm not doing correctly. I try not to be biased because it's me, like a lot of people look at themselves and be like, well, but I had this reason or that reason. I try to be very harsh on myself, even though sometimes it can be too much. But it's what helps me identify what I'm not doing good, and then I can better from there.
Yeah.
Obviously it's exceptions. Sometimes it's hard to find the balance and overdo it, because then, you're going to find yourself overly making yourself upset, if that makes sense. So being happy with who you are is definitely very important, but you can't just stay there. You need to, in my opinion, at least I need to really seek growth to feel conformed with who I am. So like in the length of like a few months, I need to see myself becoming.
I feel that. Yeah. Bro, when I'm stagnant, I'm so depressed.
Yeah.
Like, I feel like too, like, I have this bad, like, habit of, like, always wanting more and, like, needing more. You know what I'm saying? Like, I don't know. I feel like I'm never content, and I feel like that's an issue, you know?
I relate so much on that, because I, basically, sometimes if I am in a good, happy spot, it gives me the ache. And that's my old self in a way, because that's what I used to do, a lot of self-sabotaging. So I am very aware of when I'm self-sabotaging, and that sometimes it's hard to be content. And that's where God comes into play for me. I know that that's his plan, so I'm where I'm supposed to be. I'm always where I'm supposed to be.
Do you feel like you've always had like that strong relationship with God where you feel like you're always at the right place at the right time?
Absolutely. It's been the craziest journey. I feel like God has been the craziest journey for me. I grew up an atheist, and I was an atheist.
Crazy. And you grew up like that because of your family, right?
Yes. If you but Christianity is not a thing.
What do they believe? Nothing?
They're mostly Catholics, and then a lot of people do brujeria, which is not like, they don't, at least I didn't see it be done in like a voodoo type of way, but definitely
Similar?
But yeah, it's similar, and it's just, Christianity is not it over there. Excuse me. But my grandparents were very like hard on not being around any religion. I don't know if it's because in Cuba everything's very corrupt, so they were probably like, we don't want you involved in anything. And then when I got here, same thing. We just kept the same culture, right?
Yeah.
And until I met my husband, and my husband was very much like, I'm a Christian, you gotta be a Christian, or we can be together.
Did he say that like off the rip?
Literally. Like, I'm like a girl. And I'm like, and keep in mind, I was very toxic back there. So I was just like, I can fake. I can go to church every Sunday. What do you want me to believe in? God, I believe it. Go ahead. And he's just like, no, that's not how it is. You right. And I'm like, but why? And he's like, well, we gotta be equally yoked, because we need to both be Christians so that we can live a Christian life and we can teach our kids in the future. And I'm like, I don't believe in anything. You're good. We can have Christian households. We can tell the kids about, I'm good.
Sorry.
You can teach my.
Do you feel like,
mind.
What did you think about God before that? Like, did you think people were crazy or like delusional or like?
I very much believe in evolution, like the monkeys and all that. And that's actually something that to this day I have the most trouble, because it was what was the most taught to me as a child. So I feel like it's deeply rooted in my brain.
Right.
So like the book of Genesis in the Bible was the hardest book for me, because I visualized that as a fairy tale. And like it took a very long time to like grasp the idea. But back then my mess was just very strict on that, and I remember going back and forth about it, and then I really honestly started faking. And to myself, I would sit at church on Sundays and think, okay, this is a good little hour to kind of regroup with my brain while they do the sermon.
Shut up.
You know what?
Yeah.
And when I tell you, one random Sunday, I was just in the sermon, and I don't know what happened, that I started to feel this immense guilt in me, like all of the bad things I had done. And a lot of these bad things that precisely made me feel so guilty were things that I used to, it was like I wronged someone and they wronged me back, or like they wronged me and I wronged them. So it wasn't like a one-sided thing, so I will always justify myself for these acts. And I just remember feeling this guilt, like basically my portion of the guilt that was that needed to weigh heavy on me, and that I was justifying. And I just really felt that, I cheered up and everything, which was.
Were they talking about something around that, or it just hit you like?
It just hit me very randomly. Cause I kid you not, I was not even paying attention. Like, oh, you were like, I was just like out of it, and that randomly.
Did you tell your man that this is how you were like?
Yeah,
of
course. Actually, it's bro. Yeah, absolutely. So.
Yeah.
But that same, after the sermon, I talked to him and his dad, and I was just like, oh my gosh, like I've had this moment, like, and his dad, who is like an OG Christian, was very much like, okay, you need to give yourself to God right now. And we did this prayer, which is like the prayer you do when you give yourself up to God. And from that moment on, my journey began. And when I tell you that at the beginning, I felt like I needed God so much. Like I needed to know, I needed to read. And my father-in-law told me, this is normal. When you begin, you're always going to feel this thirst to learn, to be there and all this stuff. And he was like, right now, we need to saturate you with the Bible, and you need to really get into it, because it's going to come the time where you're going to not want to do this anymore, and you're gonna doubt, and you're gonna want to get out of it, or whatever, your journey is gonna begin, and it's not gonna be always pretty. And I remember again thinking to myself, like, okay, sure, whatever, like I love this right now, so I'm fully in it. And sure enough, after a few months, I literally had a midlife crisis. And after like this was crazy. Like I started doubting everything. I went to Cuba to visit after like 10 years of not being there. And keep in mind, a lot of my family does, not my family, but my close friends and my mom's close friends, they do Luria. And they would just explain it to me, or what they do, what they believe, their rituals, how things are done. And like I said, I feel like the way I grew up, it was very much like cause and effects, like very like textbooks. Like you could see a direct result from the action you had. When it was not, it's very much like you just have to trust. And so this religion seemed a lot more appealing, if that makes sense. And also, I feel like that mixed in with the fact that I hadn't gone back to my country or seen my family for so long, was like I just started doubting everything in my life. And actually, in one of those trips to Cuba, because I took like 3 trips, I ended up getting engaged. And for me, everything was just spinning. Like,
Engaged to your man?
yeah, he was literally in Cuba with all my family.
Oh, he was there.
Yeah, he came. Oh. It was the cutest thing, but it just threw me off big time.
Right.
And I was terrified of telling him, because
So you said yes.
yeah, no, that part was fine.
Oh, okay.
The religious part, I was really terrified of telling him. Like, I don't know if I believe in God anymore. I don't know if this is, because I was really scared that, I know this is a deal breaker for him. So I'm like, like, is he gonna leave me if I don't believe in God? Like, I had already became a Christian, so it was like, can I even take this back? A lot of doubts. And we came back to the States, and we were back for a while. And like, I was experiencing, like I said, I didn't know who I was. I was just changing. I dyed my hair blonde.
How old were you at this point?
I was like 19, 20.
Okay.
So this was right before I guess I got pregnant. And that was just a really crazy time. Probably that's when everything began to go on downfall, basically. And then I told him, and he was actually very supportive, which I was like, oh wow, I wouldn't just know you. And he was just like, it's definitely a deal breaker, but I just think you're having a midlife crisis. Like, you just should just give it a rest and try to like, pray and just wait it out so like you could be sure, In one of those trips, when I was like tripping balls, we kind of looked at each other, and he was like, so you really think you're not saved? And like, if you're not saved, if you're not going to heaven, you're good enough. And like, girl, when I tell you the fear that went through my body, I had never experienced before. Like, I was like,
oh my God,
am I not saved? And like, I swear, I can't even explain that. It's like this feeling, like, and after that, I just knew. I knew that I was a Christian to the core. Like,
that's so crazy. How did your family react?
Well, my family didn't take me serious. Till this day, I'm just like now starting to like really respect it.
Oh, okay.
Well, no, they've been seeing it for like, since I had my kids, it's all been very steady, like very like on the same note. And I actually implement this lifestyle. I try to keep it as correct as I can so that my family can take example and like believe in it as well. Actually, my brother just became a Christian. Made me tear up. Because me and my men always talk about how when we go to heaven, my family's not coming with me. His entire family is coming with him. And I'm just like, it's just me and the kids.
So if you're not saved, you don't go to heaven.
The Bible says so, so you're not. If you don't believe,
do you believe that? So can you believe? Can you believe without being saved?
I don't think so. I really don't. Because it says that if you gotta believe in Jesus, and now that's what saves you. Like, Jesus.
So if you believe, then you're saved.
Yeah, that's what it is. Yeah, exactly. I don't really like believe in like church. I go to church because God says in the Bible that you should go to church for community, and church is very important.
Yeah,
it keeps you in the loop.
I feel like that's why I like to go too, is because you just feel like you're in a space of such like positivity and like, I don't know, like I feel like church can be toxic depending on where you go.
That was my next point. Like, but I don't like church. Yeah. Literally, I absolutely actually hate church because of what it does, because of how, but that is something that's also in the Bible. They will try to mislead you. They will be fake churches that spread misinformation to literally try to take you away from the path that you're supposed to be on. So I think that's why it's very important to check the church you're going to and make sure you're involved and make sure that you know what's going on. Like, my church has monthly meetings where they tell us everything they do, everything. And again, I honestly don't even think that's that necessary. But like what I'm saying is be involved.
Do you donate?
Yeah, we tithe our 10%, and I'll tell you something. We were very broke, and the second we started to tithe our 10%, our business took off. Like we began to make. Like funny enough, we started tithing more than what we were like we could afford to tithe, and our money is never like decreased from there. Like
It came back tenfold.
yes. So
That's crazy.
it's like literally we like literally tithe on Sunday, and the next week it was just an insane week.
That's crazy.
And obviously leading up to that, we had a lot of time where we thought about it, where we talk about it, and we just felt it.
So when you started your business, were you guys working at all?
So we started our business. So my husband started learning how to window tint when my son was conceived. Like when we realized we were pregnant, we were gonna stay together, we were gonna do this thing. He was like, okay, I gotta do something. So
That's a real man, y'all. Take note. Take
I
note.
don't bring up my mind that I could talk for hours.
Oh my gosh.
He literally went and learned from scratch. He had not window tint a day of his life, and he was actually fresh.
Why did he choose that?
It's a more like easier job than pressure washing. You're not outside. You're and he likes cars. He likes working on the car, but you're not like technically like doing mechanic work.
Right.
You're more like beautifying the
Yeah, it's more of like an art kind of.
yeah, bro. I just feel like when you truly want to be in a relationship,
Make it work.
if he wanted to, he would. It's like that. I gotta say,
Yeah.
if he wanted to, he would.
Yeah. That's what's crazy, and that's what like I've learned in this situation that I'm in right now is like, bro, I even told him, I was like, you're doing shit like in the first week that I begged for 5 years, which is insane. And it just goes to show like men know what the fuck they're doing, and they know what they're supposed to be doing. It's just whether they choose to do it or not.
100%. And when a man wants you, he will go to war for you.
Yeah.
You won't have to ask. You won't have to say anything.
You won't have to say shit.
He will leave the room.
And that shit is crazy.
And when he doesn't want you, he will literally not stay for the fucking war.
Yeah. Or he'll just like, he just won't give you anything that you need, so like you're forced to leave, literally.
Yeah, sometimes actually they will kind of like envy your shine or your vibe. You vibrate so high, in my opinion. So it's like, to have him, I can't believe you had like that.
I know, but I was young. Like I was 17, bitch. I didn't know the fucking difference.
No, 100%. I feel like before our 20s, we're not meant to make any choices.
No. And I'm just such the type of person where like, I'll ride that shit out till the end. Like I'll just like try and try and make that shit work over and over and over until like it just physically can't work anymore. You know what I'm saying?
Bro, that was literally my biggest fucking flaw in life.
Yeah.
Like being like a young, like from teenager to like literally to the second I got pregnant with my son, I have always been the type of, I will love us for the both of us. Like you just show.
Bro, fucking delusional.
And that's literally what led me to like being in such a bad state. It's like I just couldn't grasp leaving somebody. Like I don't know.
Did you have a serious relationship before your husband?
Yes, I had. I had a really.
It was toxic?
It was nice at the beginning, but I really fucked it up. And after that, it became really toxic, and I got really obsessed like that. Like, please, I'll do anything. And that was horrible because that basically made me.
That's when like all your self-respect goes out the window.
Yes, and I was doing just crazy ass stuff, and it like placed me in very bad positions, very bad situations.
One thing I didn't want to do was like need like another man to like get over my ex, or like just stop dealing with him, which is like a whole nother thing. But what can I say? I'm just a weak ass bitch. What can I say? But I'm just such like an all or nothing type of person that I just like dove right in. Like, hello, bitch. Can you just take it fucking slow? But
always like that? Like
with like everything.
Oh, with everything. Okay.
I'm like,
personality trait.
That's literally my personality trait. And like, that's when I went to my therapist and she thought I was off my fucking rocker, and I knew she would about everything. No, because bro, I went in and told her like, I barely started talking and she was like, he's a narcissist, he's love bombing you, you have attachment issues, like all this shit, like in the first like 3 minutes of the session. And I'm like, as a therapist, you can't just throw words out there like that. You know what I'm saying? Like,
Really?
you can't just, and like she was like judging me like the whole session. She ended up ending it like 15 minutes early. And like, I was like, she just like abruptly ended it. And I was like, okay, so now what? Like, you're telling me all this shit. So like, now what am I supposed to do with that information? Like, she didn't give me like, you know what I'm saying? Like, anything to do about it.
You said that she was always very like, exactly, like that she would give you tools, that she wasn't just...
Bro, flip the fucking script. And she did the same thing to the girl that put me on to her. Like, I don't know if she's like projecting and like going through something like in her life, but like it was such a bad experience. And like I came out feeling so much worse than I went in. And I was just like, what the fuck? I know, but absolutely not. And like everybody else too that like I know is going to her is like, yeah, no, she's tripping. But like as a therapist, you can't just make, like, they're not supposed to just say such like strong words and statements, you know, especially without like
that she wasn't like gonna...
Yeah, exactly. That's what I'm saying. It was like a whole different person. Like, I'm like, who am I talking to?
The lives, like, you know how you were going there physically, then you went online, and then now you're on physically?
I didn't go online, and I hadn't seen her in a month and a half since the last session. So, bitch, here I am coming in with new fucking hair. I went dark. I have a new man that I met a week ago, and I was like, we're in love, but like, I'm just fucking kidding, bitch. Like, but she was taking everything like so literal and was basically thought I was like crazy.
I honestly feel like that's crazy, because like, the way she acted on the first session to that, it's really crazy, because I feel like she gave you the comfort to be like that.
I think that's what I'm saying. I think that's what the problem was, and I feel like she caught herself being too like friendly almost, and like not keeping it professional. And I don't know if like her agency like checked her about it or what, and like she had to like switch how she was like doing her sessions. But that's the same thing that happened to like my homegirl. Like, she literally did the same exact thing. It was a totally different energy.
Bro, I'm telling you, that's why I'd be terrified of therapy. That's why I've done some...
I'm like, now you just traumatized me further. Like, what the fuck?
That's literally why I do so much self-searching myself, and I don't go to therapy.
And when you think about it, like, you're just another person. Like, who are you to tell me like what the fuck I'm doing or what I should be doing? Like, you're
like, that is literally what the problem is with people that are in positions of power without being like mentally
healed themselves.
Yeah. Like, and that goes for like police officers or like even teachers, therapists, because you are in charge of doing something for somebody else. Like, this therapist is in charge of helping you heal. So it's like, you need to know how to separate your personal issues and your personal opinions than your medical stuff.
Correct. And you can't pass judgment or or project your emotions
judge at all. They see you as a fucking textbook case.
Yeah.
And she should also know how to separate the I love him from the I really love him and I am in a
right. Like, I'm just a sarcastic bitch. Like, I don't know. Read the fucking room, bitch.
Well, I feel like she gave you the room to be like that.
Yeah.
You told me I could be myself with her.
Yes.
Me or whatever.
Yeah.
Also, it's funny because when you went to see her, you really didn't have any issues. Like, you went just kind of like for maintenance. Like, okay, like, you know. And I feel like you finally gave her like a real like thing to kind of look at, and she just kind of went off, which was
crazy.
Yeah, it's like you have these people in these positions. Same with like teachers or police officers, like regular people that are maybe at home feeling some type of fucking way, and they go to work and they're like,
and they take it out. Abuse of power, 100%.
I definitely think all of that should be.
My man was just telling me that he was like watching a video of this judge that like sentenced this one man to life, and he admitted, and like he said he felt so guilty, but he admitted that like he had a bad morning that morning, and that's why he did that.
It's crazy.
That's insane.
But that I
am fucking sad.
I have 100% fucking believe that.
Yeah. And humans are so flawed. Like, how can you put, like, I don't know. Like, you're not better than me. Like, how are you? I don't know.
Exactly. At the end of the day, bro,
no amount of school can like give you that type of power, I feel like.
Mental health is very underestimated, and not almost any career or especially positions of power like this have the mental health clearance that they should. Like, police stuff. I know that they do get mentally, like, they get checked, right? But I feel like a lot of things get overlooked, and
for sure.
All should be very strict.
Yeah.
Anybody that's in position of
even like parents, like I always say, like, you should have to go through like tests to be a fucking parent.
Bro, I 100% agree with you.
Yeah.
I think that people should be mentally checked before they're allowed to have children.
You have to go through, like, you should have to go through so much shit. I feel like the world is so fucked up because of bad parents.
Yes.
Point blank, period. If everybody had good parents, everything would be beautiful and amazing.
Bro, I think exactly 110%. I absolutely
Good parents, good teachers,
I think
like,
that this world is mostly fucked up by people that have kids without being prepared and then fucking up their kids mentally. And not by
and they go on to fuck up everything else.
not by abuse, because I feel like people see abuse or like neglects as, oh, I don't feed the kid, or oh, I don't shower the kid. No, it's more
There's so
like
many
the
other-
emotional needs of a child.
Yeah.
If you don't meet them correctly, that is actually the thing I am the most, like, I've done the most research since I got pregnant with my first son. It's how to pour into your children so they are emotionally taken care of, because that's my main goal. So my kids are emotionally aware and emotionally sufficient so that they can go into the world with all the tools they need to be normal people.
Yeah.
Because that's what I feel like is the most. It's people with a lot of trauma. They don't know how to handle their emotions, their reactions, their feelings, and they feel invalidated. They feel like they're enraged and things like that. And not only rage, some people just feel depressed. Some people feel like they become angry, and then that leads to them being bad or doing bad things to other people. And I feel like this is all because of the childhood traumas that you bear. I feel like also motherhood and parenthood in general is very, very, very overly like romanticized, and people think that having kids is just the beauty of it, which it is. It's
I don't think
amazing.
that. I don't think it's amazing.
Like, you see this trad wife trends that how this women make it seem like it's so beautiful, and it is. Bro, that is literally how I feel about my family, but the struggles are fucking real. Like, especially if you don't have the funds. Like, if you don't have the funds to take a break, if you don't have the funds to take your kids somewhere fun and feel validated, or like go do your commodities, it kind of sucks. And I feel like that's something that doesn't get talked about, where like people don't tell you. I mean, it does now. I feel like I see it.
Can you imagine being like a single mom?
No, I couldn't. Bro, and I tell you something, I'm so blessed because I could have been very easily. Like, if my relationship wouldn't have worked out, I could have been a single mom. And that shit is crazy.
That shit is terrifying.
Because with my mans, it's hard as fuck. And my mans is like a man that pulls his weight. They couldn't imagine being married to a guy that didn't want anything to do with the kids, or that would be like, you know, like you in charge of everything or something like that, or being a single mom. I feel like it's so crazy, like, and so constant. It's already so constant.
So normalized now.
Yeah.
Like, I feel like there's more fucking single moms than there's not.
Yeah. But I think that's also because of the same thing. Like, a lot of people romanticize, oh, you're with him and he doesn't want to be with you. Have a baby, he'll stay. Or all of this, and have a kid. Oh,
When did having babies become like so okay? But then it's the same people that don't want to get married or don't want to do this, but you'll have a baby.
yeah.
Like, that's not like that. I feel like that's like the biggest thing.
Yeah. And
That tops everything else.
and also like, bro, that's something that brings so much problems for the mom and child relationship. It's insane. They're like the first targets for predators, for people that are after their kids or them in general. Like, you're so vulnerable, and then you have to be in such a like survival state, because I'm in survival state and I am fully supported. I not only have my mans, but I have a village of people that help me and that babysit and that take care of my kids. So to not have that, I couldn't imagine how I'll be in a
Props to them though. Like, yeah, we're talking like that's crazy.
all of like props.
So the moms that can do that shit, like,
That's why I'm saying this, because I feel like people don't grasp how deep it goes.
how crazy.
And I really like, honestly, all of the props. These people should literally be in a pedestal, because what they do, it's crazy.
Yeah.
Can you imagine if we end up not making it or something? Like, that's something that I try to say.
That happening?
No. Well, I honestly, my men will have to fuck up, and then I'll have to stand my ground. Because that's another legit. Yeah, 100%. That's like,
You wouldn't forgive him for anything?
I would not be true to myself if I did.
Right.
Well, I wouldn't forgive cheating.
Like, you're not the type that would like stay for the kid.
No, absolutely not.
Yeah.
I actually feel like what made our relationship work was the fact that I started to have high standards for myself. Like, when I got pregnant with my son, I was like, again, I need to be like my best version, and I need to love her. Like, she needs to be her. You know what I mean? And that's what I did. And with that came a lot of self-love and self-esteem. And I only in that moment I realized how much self-esteem and self-love I lacked before. Because I was very sad and depressed, but I didn't think that way. I was just like, whatever else is wrong, that's not to me how I feel or how it is, But when I started to give myself the status, like, I'm that bitch. You better treat me like that bitch. And it's funny because my men started doing things that before we wouldn't even, wasn't even in the thing. And it was crazy to me, like, and yeah, I just stood my ground like that. And so if my man was to fuck up, I feel like if I was to forgive him and just overlook it would be lying. It would be like going back to my topic for betraying yourself. Yeah. And also, I would just be putting up with the tops. That's what I told my man when we got together. It was like, no cheating, no lying. And, for example, if he was to go to jail for something stupid, like you did something stupid that put you in a position of jeopardizing your freedom to a crazy stand to where our family seems affected, I'm not gonna see you away from it. Now, if you get thrown in jail because you're providing or you're like doing something because an emergency or whatever, okay, I'll stand here like 10 years. But if you're just being stupid, no. So that's the other things. It's like cheating, lying, and that. And definitely if I'm unhappy, when I'm unhappy, I stay. When I'm unhappy, I go and I talk to him. I'm not crazy. I don't go and argue and yell. I do lose my shit sometimes, obviously, like everybody. We do have arguments sometimes where I just can't. It hits my sore spot, and then like I have to regroup and learn from that. But in the moment, yeah, you lose my shit or whatever. But that doesn't happen often. Usually, when I have a real issue where I visualize something that I cannot put up with, I go to my man in a calm manner and I say, here, this is what happened. This is how I feel about it. This is how I interpret it. This is what I didn't like about it. And this is why it's not negotiable about it. Then you decide. I think literally like a court. Yeah. Oh my God. Yeah. And then if he interrupts me or if we don't do the we're talking over each other type of thing, we state our truth and how we feel. And I encourage him to do the same. I'm a yapper. He's not, so he usually doesn't have a lot to say, but I do encourage him all the time, especially when I'm complaining about some things, to complain if he needs to, because from there we grow, and that's how I've managed to not end up, going crazy or being unhappy. He always delivers, which is, like I said, I feel like it's not always communicating correctly, is like being received correctly, is being understood. What really helps the relationship grow, because you could be talking to a guy all day, and if they don't want to see your point or feel for you or anything, then they're just not going to do it. They're just going to be like, oh, okay, and they're not even going to see your point. So also, that's why I don't scream about it or argue about it in a crazy way. Yes, I'm not here being toxic. Is this a real issue? And it needs to be treated as such. Like, we need to correct this somehow so that we can keep going.
Right, and all that toxic shit is not gonna get you anywhere.
Yeah, I feel like that's for children.
Yeah.
Like, we are here. I got 3 kids to take care of. We cannot be staring at each other. So we need to state what's wrong, get over it, and keep going, because I gotta go feed this kid. So that's kind of how I manage that, so that we don't things don't get out of hand, and like we don't end up in the toxic. Because I feel like that's the toxic view. Like, you scream about what bothers you, and then they receive whatever they receive, and then they scream back, and then later it comes up again, or people don't talk about it. Some things, sometimes it's very hard, because in this type of relationship, like with kids and marriage and all these things, it's like this pressure, like to bring up the breakup or to bring up something that doesn't make you happy. It's like, what if he doesn't reciprocate? But that's why I just made peace with myself, and I said, okay, if I am that bitch, I need to stand on that. Like, I'm not going to then take it back when it's a moment of pressure. So that's why I said, like, if my man was to ever cross me in the ways he knows he can cross me, I will end it. It's like, my main thing is cheating. I feel like if we can go through all of the things we go through, and you can go lay with somebody else and come home and like laugh or eat with me or do the things we do, then you just...
Have you been cheated on?
Yes, before marriage.
That is like the craziest thing I've ever seen, girl. And I feel like that's also so normalized.
Yeah,
and it's like, that's not fucking normal, bitch. Like, that's actually really traumatizing.
Yeah, it really is. I feel like it destroys you, especially if it's like the first time. It will literally break you down and turn you into dust, and there rebuild yourself. And it brings up a lot of trauma if you have trauma in the past.
But and it's really hard to like move forward from.
Yeah,
even just in your own life.
Yeah.
Yep.
I actually, when that happened, I wasn't even self-aware at that point. So I just remember just more trauma to dump down.
Yeah, you were good after that. I think you just needed
Girl.
a moment.
You.
Yeah.
Also, keep in mind I don't have a lot of friends.
Yeah.
Like in real life. So you truly are one of like my friends.
Don't make
This might be corny, so you can cut it out. But literally, you really inspired me to like start getting like, you were just like, you see me for more than just a mom. And I feel like when you become a mom, most people see you exclusively as mom, caregiver.
Yeah.
And when you're in the middle of that, there's no time for self-care, or at least I didn't have time for that. So I feel like that's what I portrayed, like overtired, overburned mom that's just pregnant and over it. And you really encouraged me to find her, you know, to be like, you're not just this, like you really need to keep going.
I'm so glad.
Bro, I swear. And after that, I started doing more for me. Like, what do I want to do? Get my lashes done? Do I want to do this? And again, my man supported all of that. And yeah, and that's where we are today. Like, I got my hair done. I feel like literally every time I change something, it really builds me up more to who I want to be. And yeah, like this change of like, I got my hair straight and then I did the bangs, and I'm just like, oh my God, like who is she? It's like, I'm finally getting to where, and I'm feeling very comfortable actually with change, with looking different and changing who I am and experiencing with different types of styles. Like that was all something that really scared me. Like, can I even dress like this, or can I even dress like that? Or
I remember when you went through that phase. Yeah.
it was like I didn't know anything. Like I was just like trying to figure everything out.
Yeah.
So I also feel like since I was like in that survival stage before I had my kids, and then I went into healing, but also having all these kids, it was a lot to process. And I'm just now feeling the relief and the I know who I am.
Yeah.
And so I can experiment and kind of explore who I am.
Yeah. These are so fucking pretty.
Bro, this is,
I love the vibes. And your fingers just look so much better.
bro,
Then you're not chewing them up. Yeah. Yeah. Bro, your cuticles would be so inflamed.
I really realized how bad it was with not our last step, but our previous. The
step
step was
before.
fucking awesome. But there was no way they're gonna get. I had a cut in one of my fingers like that. I was like, how did that even happen?
All right, y'all. You just wrapped it up. The nails are done. But thank you for listening to us yap all night long. We appreciate you. And we'll see you on the next episode. Bye.